All right, everyone. It's been a few years since I've uploaded a video specific to the truck I have. Just finished my latest big project, and of course, in researching and looking through, nothing really specific to a 2015 Super Duty with four-wheel drive, Platinum, all that stuff. And so the last video was what I learned with my EGR delete, and this is for my second attempt to fix my Death Wobble. It got a little bit worse and would be really terrible, violently shaking when driving 70 miles an hour. You get a change in elevation on the interstates, just going over a bridge or a pothole, hit the right way, and it would start. I'd have to slow down to 35 miles an hour because it would send me jumping. So after researching again, I found out, get up on the front, see what looks nasty, and begin replacing parts. The first thing was the low-hanging fruit was the steering stabilizer bar, which is pretty simple for this thing. Ordered it from Bilstein, and sort of got that attached, and it helped for a little while. You can see that's the first part, and the lighting's not very good, but so that's the stabilizer bar that I replaced. And it helped for a little while, but didn't quite solve the problem. And so naturally, research, there are a few things that I think I needed to do. And the first was needed new tires, because although the tires were in good shape, because my alignment wasn't great, it was wearing my stock Michelin. And oh, by the way, everything on this truck is stock height. I drove the stock Michelin tires since I've owned it, and because I can't fit it, I want to fit it in my basement to park it, and if I lift it or anything, then that's out of the question. So I've kept it stock height, stock tires until just now. So the alignment was bad because my outer part of my tire was wearing much faster than everything else. So that's easy, and that's probably what was causing the lion's share of the Death Wobble problem. But here's what I did. And here's what I learned. I got new tires ready, knew that I was going to get an alignment, and from what I read and understood, I put the most caster in up to spec without going out of spec. Don't know if that works, but that's what research kind of led me to conclude. As you can see, kind of through there, new shocks, heavier duty than the OEM. On this had been the OEM. I went with the Bilstein 5100s, and then probably the thing that I changed was this steering drag link right there. You can see the new part in my tie rod, upper and lower tie rod. All right, so here's what I learned. Pretty much underneath here, and by the way, my mechanic skills are okay. Every time I get going on one of these things, I'm always nervous, because once I start, finishing is the key. What do I need to do to finish? And so, because don't have a lot of extra money to spend on a mechanic, though that would be my first choice, it is something that I thought I could tackle just from my research. So anyway, without further ado, so first thing I did was begin removing my stabilizer bar naturally. It's easy. And then got over here, and you can see my steering drag link, which runs up to there and connects to my pitman arm. Then I have my center drag link, which is that lower tie rod, connects to the other one. You see that one seemed to be okay. I did not replace that one. It looks like it was pretty good shape. All right, and the hardest part by far, so when you get over here, didn't have to use a fork to remove the old one, anything over here, but that lower tie rod, when I took off when I began to separate it, it was on there pretty good. So a sledgehammer mallet to the old end loosened that off, and took a few pretty strong whacks at it, and it fell off. But what really costed me a lot of time and heartbreak was that guy there. The OEM link to the pitman arm, as you can see right there. It took hours to remove it. So what I learned, first thing, PB Blaster, if you're gonna keep a lot of your adjusting sleeves and all that, this stuff, you gotta soak them in PB Blaster days, weeks before you begin removing. I got a new adjusting sleeve there, as you can see, because again, a lot of mine had rust, and I'm in the south, so just rain, but it was rusted pretty well, and if I needed to keep it, it would have been drenched in PB Blaster. But I got new adjusting sleeve. I kept that right there as original. You see the original bolt there, but the tie rod is new. PB Blaster, everything that connects, blasted with PB. But that pitman arm, and this connection, lovely thing, right there, it was nearly the death of me. So there's not, the reason why is because I got a pulley, I rented a pulley, did everything that I could, but it was on there. There's not enough room for the pulley to force the stud out. You can't get a socket to push the ball joint out of it. Well, man, okay. Well, took a pickle fork, and since I wasn't keeping the ball joint, I ruined that boot on my old one. It nearly killed me. Tore it out, grease everywhere. Fine, just get out. So after losing my religion a couple of times, went to bed. Couldn't, and again, soaked the PB Blaster overnight. In the morning I was like, well, I'll use, what other options do I have? And fortunately I've got some friends, and again, not a mechanic, and he came up with some suggestions. And so what I ended up doing was getting a blowtorch, heating it up. I mean, heating it up, blowing out when the rubber was burning, heating it up. Took a pickle fork and put it on that side. Let's see. This, jeez, come on. So I'll put it, there it is. Put it on the drag link right there. Remember this, hang on, back up. So remember, that stabilizer is removed. I put the tie rod back into the knuckle there. Put the pickle on the tie rod, laying on it like this. So laying on the tie rod. Took a mallet, sledgehammer, and I leaned the sledgehammer on the drag link, and I wailed. I mean, angry wailed at just hammering at the thing. And eventually it came off, and that was such a great feeling. Such a great feeling. And after that, it was pretty simple. Just kind of reinstalling everything. You'll need a really good impact drill to remove the tires, of course. You'll need a 21 millimeter socket to remove the nuts from the inside where the tie rods connect on both sides. You'll need 18s when you do shock. I think I had a 19 up there with the Bilsteins. They connect with the 19. That's pretty easy to do. It's not complicated. I didn't have to jack up or my tire or anything. It just kind of connected it. You do have to compress it and let the gas kind of, be pushed out in order to get it working. But those are pretty easy to do. The back as well. The back was straightforward. Again, so mine came with a little plastic wrap around the shock, so it was pretty close. So before I cut the strap, I kind of got it lined up, got it on, and then cut the strap. That made it a little easier. If yours comes with a plastic strap kind of around the shock to keep it compressed. But that's what I learned. And so now I've got the new shoes. It's aligned, new shocks, but really PB Blaster, find you a blowtorch. And like I said, put the drag link back in and really just beat away at it until it eventually broke free. That's about all. And the way I maybe saved a few bucks was got the tires in, took the old ones off, took them to a tire shop. They put the new ones on while this thing was on some jack stands and jacked up. So at some point, all 4 rotors were bare and the tires were being replaced at a shop. Saved me a few bucks, I think, that way, rather than having them installed by and ordering from a shop altogether. So fortunately, I don't think it increased my height very much. It's great. Still get in my garage. That's really it. But again, second major thing I've had to do. Hopefully it fixes it. I don't know if it will. Interstate drive last night was pretty good. Didn't wobble at all. Felt a little stiffer. I think it was taking me some time to get used to the way it bounces now. I have the new shocks and the OEMs are gone. But anyway, so there. Last time, first video was top of the engine. This time it's below. I hope it fixes it, because it's really scary. The shaking's one thing, but having to slow down so quick, just afraid somebody's gonna not be paying attention and run over me from behind, which wouldn't be good. Really, hassle of dealing with all that. It's just not fun. Plus, I really like my truck. So, all right. Well, that's about it. PB Blaster. You need a 21 millimeter socket to get off and to remove my lock nuts from my tire, as well as a tie rod. You will need a pickle fork, a heavy duty hammer, and new parts. If you're going to order parts, make sure you get the right parts. I ordered some, got it to come in, and my drag link, my steering drag link, was too long. It said, it had I wasn't sure again, so I got one that seemed like it would fit, but it was wrong. It was the one that said, rail to rail is 34 inches. That's the one I got. Again, that was the wrong one, so ended up having to go to O'Reilly's and get the Moog drag link. All my parts were Mevotechs, except for the drag link. Tried to be consistent, just with threads and stuff. So anyway, long-winded, but that's what I learned, and hopefully it fixes my Death Wobble issue. All right. And if you have any questions or comments, I'm pretty good about trying to reply back and be helpful. Let me know. Thanks.